Hey guys, welcome to So It Flows. My name is Alexandra Rose, and today we are going to be learning how to do the headstand. Headstand is one of my most frequently requested poses in yoga, so I thought it would break it down step by step on how we get into the headstand inversion. One thing that I'd like you to really focus in on is the alignment of the body. Once everything is aligned in the body, it becomes pretty effortless to move into one of these inversions. You might not think it's effortless right now, but I promise you if you practice these techniques that everything will eventually click into itself and you'll be able to float into these inversions. If this is your first time practicing a headstand, or if you still have some fear in getting into a different place in space and upside down, I'd like you to practice with a wall. You can bring your mat to a wall and practice getting into inversions, and you'll have that support. And so let's get started in breaking it down. The first thing that we want to do is find a strong foundation for a headstand. So I like to measure the elbows here by grabbing a hold of the opposite elbows and sending them down to our mat. We're then going to lace the fingertips, and when we lace the fingertips, naturally one pinky is in front of the other. So what I'd like us to do is send one pinky behind the other, and I'll come and show you. Naturally, when we lace the fingers, one pinky comes underneath the other. When we practice headstands, I'd like you to bring one pinky behind the other, so when we ground it down to our mats, we're not putting all that pressure on one pinky. So we'll find the lace fingers, one pinky behind the other. Step 1, measure the elbows. Step 2, lace the fingers. Step 3, find one pinky behind the other. Step 4, ground everything down into the mat. So next we're going to find where the hairline meets the forehead. This is about the area that we're going to rest into the mat. And I say rest because we want to become a little weightless in the head. I like to open up the hands here just as a place to cradle my head, grounding down again where the hairline meets the forehead. We want to keep those elbows in. One of the biggest things that I see is that we start with the elbows super far out, and then there's no place for our hips to come over our shoulders. So we need those elbows close into the body. Again, I like to measure those elbows to find the proper alignment for our specific body. Once we have the head cradled into the hands, we're going to tuck the back toes and lift the hips. Once the hips are over the shoulders, this is when we become weightless. So right now my hips are probably several inches away from my shoulders. So I want to start to walk the feet as close to the elbows as possible. And once they're close in towards the elbows, you can see how I can start to shift the hips over the shoulders. This shifting action comes right within our hip flexors. So you want to think about rolling those hip flexors forward and back. And when we're upside down, you want to think of rolling the hip flexors over those shoulders. So breaking it down again, measure those elbows, send the elbows down into the mat, keep those elbows firmly in towards each other. Lace the fingers and untuck those pinkies. Ground down the head where the hairline meets the forehead. And then tuck the toes and lift the hips. If this is a place that you're uncomfortable in, you can take some deep breaths, taking a break in and out of this. If you're ready to move forward, again, walk those feet towards the elbows, shifting the hips over the shoulders. Our first option here is maybe you can bring the heel into the glute, maybe opposite. Take a break when you need to, come back to your breath. If this feels good for you, maybe you find that heel into the glute and continue to shift those shoulders over, or shift the hips over the shoulders. Maybe you can come into a little tuck here. So when I'm tucked, my belly button is engaged and my hips are right in alignment with the shoulders. If you have this, maybe flex the feet, squeeze everything together and send the feet up towards the sky. Another option we have here is to find one leg up towards the sky in a three-legged variation. So our hip is our rudder, or our toes are our rudder, so we want to draw the toes down towards the mat, lift the heel up. Once that hip again is over the shoulder, we become weightless here, drawing the left foot. You can find some shapes here, or bring that left foot all the way up. Taking a few breaths here. Option 3, especially if we've been practicing this and we want to get that weight over our shoulders, we come into a pike, flexing the feet, using the core to lift the hips over their shoulders. Whew. So take a moment here. If you want to try that out, you can use a wall, catch your breath, let the blood come back down to your hips, and I hope you have fun. If there are any other tutorials that you would like to see, send me a message or direct message me on my Instagram at @soitflows__, or you can send me a message in the comments here. And thank you so much for joining me once again. Namaste, everyone.